So at around 9:30 last night, Uzu finally made a public post on the YBA Discord saying that Stone Free was pretty much entirely done. This announcement was met with a resounding... Yeah, no one's really talking about it. It's not even like I'm trying to be a YBA doomer like I usually am and saying the game is dead, but seriously, I didn't even hear about this until one singular person DM'd me on my Discord the day after it was posted. So I didn't even know about it until today. Now, admittedly, that could just be because I'm heavily falling out of relevance and having panic attacks about it. But that's not relevant to today's video, so we're not gonna talk about any of that. Today, we're more here to talk about the future of the game and whether or not this upcoming update is really going to mean anything. And I have to get one thing out of the way immediately, and that's that I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you here. I didn't think this update was ever going to release. I know there's a lot of people that have been holding out hope for this for a long time, and they're probably very happy with this news, but I had completely lost hope and just assumed that Uzu was going to abandon the project. I mean, for God's sakes, we're running on almost a year since a new stand was added. I think it's safe to say that after that long with no content, it tells you a whole lot about the state of the game. And while the gameplay itself still obviously holds up, if there's no content, then eventually the game's gonna die out. And I'll get another thing off my chest here. I honestly don't think there's going to be a whole lot coming down the road after Stone Free. All the hopeful people out there are gonna be thinking to themselves that now that Uzu's done with school or whatever, that he's going to push out updates the same kind of frequency that he did in the past. And that's not gonna happen. I'm gonna crush your dreams right now. I can guarantee you that that won't happen. But what I can say but not guarantee is I really don't think that there's going to be too many updates or game-changing things coming to the game after the next update. Not only that, but I think that the update that's coming is going to disappoint a lot of people, because there's an extremely low chance that this update has actually been worked on for like a quarter of a year. A bunch of ignorant kids think it has been because they can't read the writing on the walls, but I can bet you that this update will have Stone Free and maybe some balance changes, and that will be it. And when that happens, people initially are gonna be like, this is awesome, oh man, I love Stone Free, this is so fun. And then after a week, maybe two, they'll be like, hang on a minute, that's it? And then there will be public outrage again, because that's always how these things work. It's like a cycle of abuse. You see it over and over and over again, and eventually you catch on. Now I've talked doom and gloom, so let's actually talk positives, which will probably end up turning into doom and gloom anyway, because that's just kind of how my brain works. The positive here is it pretty much guarantees that we're actually going to get an update, and we're finally actually going to see Stone Free. In terms of Stone Free, I'll be perfectly honest, I do not give a flying f*** about Stone Free. It'll be one extra stand to play with, which will be nice, but in the grand scheme of things, what really is going to matter in this update to me is what they fix in the game rather than what they add. Because there's some long-standing things in the game that are just infuriating, that continue to be infuriating, and because of the update drought, we haven't seen any progress towards them getting fixed. I mean, I made the 10 and 20 or whatever things wrong with YBA, and all of those things are still in the game. So what I'll be really interested to see whenever this update comes out is exactly what on that list is actually fixed. It would be awesome to go through that video and say, hey, look at that. This is a completely obsolete video because everything has been fixed. But I think we all know that's not reality. And while that might not be reality, I don't think all hope is lost, because Paragon quite a while ago put out this huge list of balance changes, most of which I agree with, some of which I disagree, but overall, if everything that he had put up there was implemented into the game, I think the game would be a much better place balance-wise, especially getting rid of Vamp Subspec, cough cough. So while I don't know what's going to be added, I feel like Paragon has been pretty insistent over the last few months, despite the fact that there has been nothing going on, that he wants these things to happen. And I'm hoping for once Uzu will actually listen to the person that's basically the closest to him and generally knows what they're talking about, but I suppose only time will tell. I can promise you that if some of the real game breakers, like the permafat bug for the World Over Heaven and the extended time stop glitches and the time skipping in time stop, if those things are not fixed with the Stone Free update, hoo boy, you are in for an angry video, let me tell you. I will say it's almost kind of a shame that the project wasn't abandoned, since it's pretty clear at this point that Uzu does not care about this game and does not want to continue making it. Which I've gone on record saying many times that I don't really fault them for, because I had the exact same thing happen to me. I was recording almost every single day, putting out a video almost every single day, streaming almost every single day, sometimes for like 8 hours at a time. And what do you think happened? Of course I burned out. Like, that would happen to literally anyone. Nobody can do that. And so I think it's safe to say that what I was doing was probably not nearly as difficult or taxing as trying to put out an update for a game every single week and please people. And so I can totally see why you would just want to put it all behind you after so long, because you get sick and tired of it and want to do other things and move on with your life. And for some, that's just not an option, and for others it is. But the main takeaway is that I can totally understand why the project would have been just abandoned. But when I say that it's almost a shame that it wasn't, is because there's so many games and people I've talked to that were hopeful about finally getting into the scene because YBA was pretty much falling off. So if this update swoops in and extends the longevity of the game for another year where there's no content, but look, we've got Stone Free now, then I kind of fear for those other games, which is a little bit of a shame. But then again, those other games also have to step up to the plate and make something truly spectacular so that they can actually compete. Right now, we've been sitting on a drought where it's basically only been subpar games and YBA not getting updated. And for a lot of people, myself included, it's been really hard, especially as a content creator who's basically locked to doing Roblox JoJo, that I need to make videos on either subpar games or a game where I'm like clawing at the walls for content and I'm getting like little wood chips worth of content and I'm like, oh, let me try this, please watch my videos. I know there hasn't been an update in 6 years. So in that regard, I'll be in good shape for content for like a week because Stone Free will exist, and then we'll be back to square one. Whereas if any of these other games had come out and succeeded, I'd be in much better shape, as well as really everyone involved would be in much better shape, because we wouldn't all be relying on one game. And I think that's the big problem here, is AUT came along and made us think that maybe, just maybe, a game could live in conjunction to YBA and give it some competition. And, well, we all saw how that turned out. Speaking of, didn't cover that AUT update, but oh lord, that looked like a complete dumpster fire, and I almost wish I had covered it because it probably would have been really funny. Something about data loss and resets and duping and who knows, man, it doesn't matter. But the point is, it's really unhealthy for basically everyone to be relying on one game. So I'm holding out hope for future games to eventually come out, and I hope they do take their time so that they don't end up in an AUT situation. But new games coming out in the genre that are a fresh take, aren't just stun simulators, and can actually give YBA a run for its money. But at this point, I think we've gone pretty heavily off topic. We initially came here to talk about Uzu's return, now we're talking about AUT, and I'm just rambling, so I'll stop wasting your time and we can wrap things up here. Point being, the Stone Free update is probably coming soon, but I say that with a grain of salt because it feels like every time I predict one of these things, I'm dead fucking wrong. And the success of the update in my eyes is going to revolve entirely around how they do balances and fixes, more so than Stone Free itself, because I think that's what's really going to matter in the long run. With that being said though, I am done here. As I've been saying a whole lot recently, I implore you, if you enjoy my videos and watched all the way this far into it, that you not only leave a like and subscribe, but you also go down to the notifications and set them to all notifications. YouTube's been extremely finicky with whether or not they recommend any of my videos, Roblox JoJo included, so if you want to see all the things I post, even if you just want to see Roblox JoJo, you need to set the notifications on because YouTube has not been happy with me. That's all I got for today though, so have a wonderful day or night wherever you are, and I'll see you next time.